Okay, allora, first question. In recent times, a lot of cryptocurrencies similar to Bitcoin have been born. There are currently 500. Each of these has promised to improve and or attempt, unsuccessfully, to compete with Bitcoin. Why should the Ethereum project be different from all other cryptocurrencies? Isn't the system saturated?
Okay, so first of all, I just checked the GitHub page of Bitcoin, and there are actually over 4,500 forks that left just from that project. So 4,500 initiatives that have tweaked the parameters of this database. So if we look back, the first fork, so now we have over 4,500, but the first one was Namecoin. And what Namecoin tried to do, it tried to use this shared non-editable database for something else than money, right? And in this case, we're talking about a decentralized domain registry, removing the need for trusting in a centralized entity like ICANN. Now, what happened after that, we had like an avalanche of different initiatives that began to experiment with this technology and changing or adding a few features, right? So if again, we take a step back, blockchains in the end are three things. One, it's a shared database, the blockchain, all the stuff that's out there and everyone knows. Second, it's the meaning we give actually to the numbers that move inside this database. In Bitcoin, for example, the numbers mean unit of value. And third, you have a transition function from the current consensus status to the next accepted consensus status. And in Bitcoin, this looks kind of like this. If enough units of value are in address A, then subtract from address A and transfer to X to address B. Now, moving back to Ethereum, with Ethereum, we took a different direction from keeping to stack features and add different kind of functions. And instead of a feature-based blockchain, we have a programmable blockchain where the features are limited basically to the imagination of the programmers, the meaning that they can give to those numbers that shift in this distributed database, right? So the creative freedom that this approach gives is quite unique compared to the other initiatives out there. So more than that, we do not compete with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a highly specialized financial decentralized application, right? It's money. And it uses its own blockchain and all that stuff. We all know what Bitcoin is.
Yes.
But in a way, Ethereum is more like a decentralized computer on top of which people can run and build these sort of decentralized applications, being something similar like a financial application similar to Bitcoin, like a token or whatever, or some sort of medical application that helps with the storage of the private medical records of the patient in the patient's control. So it's a totally different story. We're in no way competing. This is more like continuing the experiment that Bitcoin started in the past, and we each have our distinct areas of this rich ecosystem, decentralized ecosystem that's being forming. And while we're at this, also Vitalik at the end of the year published a very cool article in which he was talking about this decentralized ecosystem that's being built. And as everywhere, you have this sort of us versus them mentality forming. It's like, oh, the skaters versus the skateboarders versus the BMXers. It's the PlayStation guys versus the Xbox guys. All this stuff, right? And
I know.
We tend to see the same stuff happening in the crypto space, and we have like, oh no, that's not cool. This other is cool. But in a way, this is definitely hasn't been done before, and since it hasn't been done before, there isn't a right or wrong way. We don't know that stuff. So encouraging pluralism and the diversity of approaches, exploring this ecosystem is beneficial to everyone. And in the end, who's the main beneficiary of this technology is humankind. Because people now having this platform at their hand, they, even if they just play, let's say writing lines of code and stuff, they can write some really powerful shit, and stuff that can change industries. So that's a huge shift in like the power that you have literally at your fingertips, and it's something serious.
Okay. And so this week or the next?
This week what?
This week Genesis block. This week the next on the end of March.
So it will definitely be towards the end of March. We are thinking about maybe syncing it with the total solar eclipse. So it's like
Very cool.
So, yeah, it's like I have in mind this video in which you have like the sun going and you have the total solar eclipse and then the Ethereum rolling like a heartbeat. It's like and the sun comes like a new dawn.
Genesis block.
Sorry?
Genesis block, like a Bible.
So have you guys seen the update on the blog?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in there you have detailed pretty much also the release schedule and that how the phases are going to proceed.
Okay.
In case you guys want more details.
Second question. Okay. Some financial institutions and money pools like Coinbase and BitPay are trying to centralize cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. Does Ethereum have the same risk of centralization?
Well, let's think about this. Why in the first place services like Coinbase and BitPay exist? So on one hand, they exist to provide a bridge between Bitcoin and centralized currencies, fiat, right?
Right.
And those sort of initiatives, where you usually touch the fiat, will inherently become centralized because fiat is centralized. So on that side, I cannot say that it will not become centralized. We might see some sort of services that might become more used than others. But on the other hand, BitPay and Coinbase exist to provide services which currently Bitcoin does not provide. For example, recurring payments and all this sort of stuff, making it easier for users and merchants to interact with this platform. But since Ethereum is still incomplete, in some weak sense, nothing cannot be scripted. So you can have recurring payments, you can have all this sort of stuff that you cannot have on Bitcoin, and you have centralized service providers that appear to solve this problem. So in our case, I think we might see some companies that will become more used than others, but it will be definitely more decentralized since the capabilities of the platforms are superior in a sense that it provides this customizing aspect without having to rely on someone to do it for you.
Okay. Thanks. Third question. Ok.
Quindi anche se i ragazzi hanno una domanda da fare.
Alla fine, facciamo alla fine. Ok. Third question. Ethereum is a real certification and verification ecosystem. In fact, Ethereum promises not only the transfer of wealth from one user to another, but the self-certification and self-compliance of contracts. Someone defines Ethereum, the Bitcoin 2.0. What are the key words to remember?
So, the most important keywords to remember when thinking about Ethereum and what it can bring and how it can change the internet is more cats, less NSA. Now, moving on, it's if there would be a couple of keywords, it would be transparency, privacy, incorruptible, decentralized computing, and a trustworthy foundation on which we can heal and rebuild the internet. You know, it's actually quite funny how we end up getting some technology that allows us to actually trust it and verify it, right? But we achieve this thing without having to trust anyone.
Okay.
Right? That's pretty awesome. And it can also be seen as an open source development platform for next generation decentralized applications that, you know, solve big problems as privacy by design.
Okay. And the Ethereum team is trying in every way to prevent that excessive wealth goes into the hands of early adopters. Don't you think that switch from POV to POS will award...
If it gets ASIC, then it will be... He first launched this thing, he was imagining this global ledger running on people's laptops, so it's, you know, distributed and all that stuff, the cool aspects. But since the proof of work algorithm was shot to 56, and we had this these breakthroughs and advancements in specialization in the way you try to resolve this algorithm, you had basically a shift into how the economics worked. And simply because a feature like the proof of work has been that particular case used, we have this shift from the original vision in this blockchain running across people's laptops to a blockchain that has more than half of the total hashing power in the numbers of, I don't know, 3 to 5 entities. So even proof of work isn't that safe or egalitarian to begin with. And on top of that, proof of work is wasteful. So running it just to increase egalitarianism is a horrible, you know, inefficient way of trying to make something work with the wrong tools. So just to sum it up, we'll definitely run intense economic modeling and try to find the optimal solution to democratize as much as possible the way the issuance and all this stuff works. But proof of work is, you know, wasteful, and we should try to focus on how to secure this stuff without using the limited supplies that we have at our disposal.
Okay, and can you confirm that the mining algorithm will perform better on CPU, which have plenty of RAM?
Yeah, so on this side, we're in the testing and benchmarking phase, so I do not have yet the necessary confirmation to say yes, it's one way or the other, but you should hear definitely updates in the coming weeks.
Okay.
So,
this week we have
gradual release.
Okay. This week we have all the specs of Algo. Specification of Algo.
Are you there?
Sorry, can you? I'm not sure what you asked.
So the next weeks we'll have something on the algorithm. I mean, some specifications about the GPUs.
Yes, more information
in the next week.
The specific and like how it works, and maybe a couple of benchmarks on different GPUs and so will be released in the coming weeks.
Okay.
So the mining aspect will be updated.
But there will be. I've read that it's probably that will be external mining program. External to.
So we from last week I saw a mining interface running from inside Mist, the Ethereum browser. But you also have a compatibility with CG Miner and SG Miner, so it will be compatible with those external programs for mining as well.
Okay, guys, do you have any question?
No, I have not.
Tu nessuna?
Io volevo chiedere cos'è la proof of stake.
Vai.
Non lo so, posso io?
Vai. Avvicinati.
Excuse me, can you please hello? Can you describe what exactly proof of stake is? Because personally I have the concept of proof of work, that is a voting algorithm based on the computational power of each node. But it's the first time that I hear about proof of stake. So can you describe with your words? Just.
I don't think I will make it justice if I try to present it, but I will link you now to an article written by Vitalik specifically on proof of stake and on stake actually. Let me see. So okay, I'll give you actually 3 articles. They're all
Fast and Furious.
So there you go. Wait, let me paste. So this is one on stake. Then we have this.
Poi passo.
Yes.
Ok.
And I have this. So it's, I have to be honest, Vitalik is the most passionate about this stuff, so he's the most qualified person to answer that stuff, and he's a very good writer, so if you have the patience to go through that article, you'll definitely find the answers you're looking for.
Other questions? Is Ethereum
It is Ethereum bashed by the Bitcoin Foundation.
Is it what?
Bashed, put it in a second rate altcoin.
So this gets back to what I was saying earlier, with the Xbox versus PlayStation guys. So,
Understand.
yes, indeed, there have been some, not necessarily the friendliest of relations out there. And by the way, I did not get the chance to introduce myself. I am Mihai Alisie, and I am the Vice President of Ethereum Foundation and a Director of Ethereum Switzerland. So, speaking from a foundation point of view, we have been friendly. We have not engaged too much in collaboration, but hopefully the future will, be better for everyone.
We are in the same situation because the same situation, Xbox versus PlayStation in Italy. Many users of Bitcoin in Italy don't see in a good way Ethereum funds.
Well, haters gonna hate. And more than that, in a couple of weeks, we'll have a network up and running, and we'll actually have decentralized apps being built, and they will run. So even if you hate, you must acknowledge that at some point this thing actually works, it's here, and it's not going anywhere. So deal with it. It's, in a way, I understand this, I know, it's not necessarily hate, but it's more like a defensive approach, since the entire crypto and what they identify with when it comes to what blockchains mean and what Bitcoin and like this entire thing, movement is about. And we definitely move the discussion from what are blockchains. Dude, this is like the how you can take down banks. You don't need banks anymore with governments, all that stuff. So the discussion has moved a bit towards, okay, so we have this technology. You can build all sorts of applications, including the subversive ones, but you can also create lots of applications that are beneficial and helpful and so on. So we moved the conversation from blockchains being monetary instruments to blockchains being some sort of platforms on top of which you can build more. So it's it's, I suppose, an ideological split at the
Ideological.
moment, but in the end, I think people will realize that we're, in the same space. And actually, while we're at this, let me share with you something really quick. Let me see. So this, okay, silence. So again, I have to link an article from Vitalik. It talks about exactly this topic, and I will post. Let me see, open image. So I'm gonna send you an image now. So can you click it? Open it.
Last link? Ah, ok, imagine. Ok. Ok.
So
Okay.
if you read the article I just linked and then you get to the end, Vitalik tries to describe in this how this is the bigger animal everyone's part of, and we're each doing our own piece of the puzzle that makes the big picture. So it's not like it has to be X or Y. In the end, it will be X is better suited for A than Y. So it will become a path of specialization and figuring out where everyone belongs into the bigger picture.
Okay. There is a big work.
Definitely. Well, in the end, we're sort of creating the foundations for a private, secure, trustworthy internet. It's gotta be a lot of work.
Tu qualche domanda?
Do you have an article also about how and why should we trust a network based on proof of stake? Is it included in the article that you linked us? Why?
So you will see in
The second one, I think it's
in the
about.
proof of stake article. It's always the trade-off, right? So in there he talks about the weak subjectivity.
Ok,
and
weak
how that-
subjectivity. Questo qua.
Okay, the second one.
The second
Thank
one.
you.
Ok. One moment.
Okay, maybe another question. How Ethereum is looked upon by the international commercial guys, channels?
So this is an excellent question, and actually the project itself. So to start from the beginning, I first received an email from Vitalik somewhere in late 2013, where he was just beginning to sort of crystallize Ethereum as an idea. So at that point, we didn't even know that we are going to have an Ether pre-sale. We didn't know how everything is going to unfold. So the idea of having the tokenized Ethereum pre-sale and all that stuff happened somewhere between December and January. And it was then when we also, we've explored a number of options when it came to how to fund and bootstrap these projects, since we needed money to get developers and all this stuff to actually build it. And the tokenized, so it was definitely the right move. So in the meantime, at the end of January 2014, I was landing in Zurich, in Switzerland, on the airport of Zurich, and during the following weeks, I tested this jurisdiction to see if it's the one for our project that can serve as a base. So thanks to the community there and so on, they shared valuable networks of people, and we managed also to get to the economic development team that's in Switzerland for the canton of Zug. So we explained them pretty much, okay, so look, we're building this software platform, it's going to be awesome, it's going to allow all this good stuff to be built on. And they said, wow, that sounds pretty cool. So then they didn't say, like they usually say, no, get away from here. So that was an encouraging sign. And then after what followed after that meeting, somewhere in March, I think, the IRS decided that actually Bitcoin is not a currency, it's like an investment tool. So it was like an entire clusterfuck of stuff that happened. In the meantime, while we were figuring out how to actually pull off this Ether pre-sale. So in May, this is like, it was the big story, but here we get to the part where it actually interacts with authorities. In May 20, the Digital Finance Compliance Association, after months of legal grinding, has been set up in Switzerland in the canton of Zug. And the purpose of this entity is to provide to its members and the new members also an interface with the Swiss authorities and not only, and to engage in a dialogue with them and to propose certain regulatory paths that do not suffocate or kill this technology just because they don't understand what it is, you know. So even at this point we have, so it's, you gotta understand these guys are like 40 years plus people, not necessarily tech savvy, and you have level 1 mindfuck, Bitcoin. It's like, what's that? And then, hold on, there's more. Then you go with Ethereum, like, another mindfuck. So it's definitely a hard job, but the purpose of this thing is to talk with people, educate them, and make them understand that blockchains are a database. And this database should not be treated as money. It should be a general purpose technology, and the use of the technology should maybe then be regulated. So Bitcoin, okay, blockchain technology type, financial application, okay, you can see what happens in that then. But treating, for example, other things, like we had the first example with ICANN and Namecoin, how would that work then? You would suffocate all this innovation by putting the blockchains in one bucket. So the DFCA, the Digital Finance Compliance Association, dfca.ch, if any of you guys is an entrepreneur doing crypto projects or looking to relocate or some friendly jurisdiction, get on the website, there's contact info, you can get in touch with them easily. So in the future, this body will also engage in dialogue with other jurisdictions. So we tried, and why we started also this effort was to have yet another vector in which we show that we try to interact with the authorities, explaining them what these days we're not, bandits with jumping from the bushes. Yes, it is pretty new, and it can lead in unexpected directions. But in the end, it's just technology. Like, it shouldn't be. If you look at the internet, it's like, this is quite fun. If you look at the internet, how it started with the web browser and then it develops and it got more mainstream and more mainstream. But before people actually got like, what's internet? What's internet? You had all these sort of publications, like in Time magazine, I think. They had like cyber porn, protecting kids from this stuff. And then you had the Bitcoin, Simpro. It's just like, Jesus, man, the same shit. It's more than that. It's more than that. So that's sort of the effort we're being involved in on the regulatory side and interact with official institutions.
Okay. Francesco Simonetti.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
I have a question for Mihai. Yes. Hello, Mihai.
Hey, man.
There will be some problem for the size of the blockchain.
We talked about that in depth, and sort of the conclusion we reached was that by the time the blockchain will get to, let's say, unmanageable sizes, we have the Ethereum 2.0 effort that's going to come and shard the blockchains, and there are like active efforts into like tackling the scalability aspect, right? So there's brain power put into that. I don't know exactly how it's going to work or look like, but it's looking exciting. So yeah, you also have Swarm and other stuff that allows you to not necessarily store all the stuff on the blockchain, but also on this decentralized architecture that follows the blockchain, for permissions and all this stuff.
Okay.
Are you talking about Swarm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that there is things that can be solved with times. If you think my first computer was 4 gigabyte of space, and now 4 gigabyte are like this. So
Yeah, it's great.
just a matter of time that everything will be always more little.
Okay.
Yeah, it blew my mind. A couple of months ago, I went to the store. I was thinking, I'm gonna get the USB stick, and the last one I had was like 4 or 8 gigs, and it got to the point where like, fuck, I needed more space. Fuck, I needed. So I said, fuck, buy a bigger USB stick. So then I went to the store and I checked the stuff, and it's like 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. Holy shit, this doesn't stop. 258, 256. Just like, oh, like, wow, I had all these 4 gigabyte. So just a tiny thing, it got to hundreds of gigs. It's like crazy. Only from that angle. We have the storage space expansion, that even if you have the quantity of data increasing, you also have a cheaper rate at which you can store all this info.
Okay.
It's really good. Maybe Lorenzo also wanted to add something.
I just want to ask you, can you hear me?
Yeah?
Okay, because my screen is locked since the beginning of the conversation. I was listening.
Yeah, we cannot see it though. We cannot see it though.
Okay, should be Skype or Chrome or application. Well,
Beautiful.
I want to ask you. Yep. I want to ask instead of Mihai. I've been talking to Mihai before a few minutes. I want to ask to Ethereum Italy what you want to do and what are your purposes. Se volete lo ripeto in italiano, lo ripeto in inglese per Mihai.
Sì, no, abbiamo capito.
Entiendo también. I can understand a bit, so it's okay. I can follow.
Yeah, it's pretty similar, no?
And so, Lorenzo, could you repeat the question, please?
I can speak Italian.
Ok.
Quali sono i vostri obiettivi come Ethereum Italia?
Sì.
Cosa avete in mente?
Allora,
Prossimi passi, diciamo.
come Ethereum Italia noi abbiamo in mente di portare avanti sicuramente la comunità Ethereum e anche...
Dillo in inglese così...
Ok. Allora, Ethereum Italia is born in July last year, and we want to collaborate with Ethereum Foundation to
Spread the word.
to find a solution with a hackathon with engineers to solve the questions of the decentralization, of creating a DApp, creating DAO, DAO, DAO in Italian. And
I also pronounce it DAO.
DAO. And work all together, and I hope that there will be a meeting with all the meetups, European meetups, global meetups, a big meeting for celebrate Genesis block.
Yeah, so on that, it probably won't be the worldwide
Fuck!
It's here. Everything is here. There you go, guys. So it will be gradual. So it might be, instead of one big party, we might have to do like 3 medium-sized parties on the schedule release. Related to the collaboration learning aspect and doing all this stuff, it's funny that you mentioned, because before this call I talked to Lorenzo briefly, and I explained him a bit about the project I mentioned in the beginning that's going to be released in the coming days. So the name of the project is Ethereum Builders, and basically it will enable people to use Google Hangouts through an interface, like an upvoting Reddit-style interface, and it will allow the community itself to self-organize. And if you have, for example, Vitalik having an hour, he could start, initiate, or propose, on that date, I have an hour in which I will show how to create your first app, right?
Wow.
And he screen shares for an hour through Google Hangout, and everyone can join. Everyone can see his screen while he goes through the stuff. And more than that, this can be used for many other things. Like, for example, asynchronous self-organizing hackathons with people screen sharing their terminals while they're hacking and building stuff. And since Google Hangout has the on-air option, the hackathons could also be live streamed on YouTube. So you have like this awesome infrastructure that's built there, and we are now going to actually use it for people to engage, interact, and learn to develop and to do stuff on Ethereum. And how we got to this education is being regarded as everyone in the project as solidate, that you retain the knowledge and all that stuff. And there was an interesting study that was conducted by the Bill Gates and Bill Gates Foundation, and it studied on a few hundred students at Harvard how the online courses work. So what they found was pretty interesting. Even if in the beginning people were signing up to take these courses to gain new skills, as they progressed through the course, their focus shifted towards getting good grades and completing the course. So completely forgetting the point of why they sign up for this thing in the first place. And the researchers, at the end of their study, suggested the following: immediate peer interaction and application of the knowledge that was learned. So going for a Code Academy style stuff requires time, requires people to build it, requires someone to record the session, requires all this stuff like to get started. And if we use the current architectures that's out there, like Google Hangouts, screen sharing, a few people, programmers learning, teaching others, and you can even incentivize this behavior. Think about this. Let's say you are a very good and passionate Ethereum programmer. You just figure out how to do a meta coin, and you say, okay guys, I have an hour to do this. We're having this call. This could have been a screen share tutorial where you would have presented this thing, and in the description you would have said, okay, you need to install this, you need to do that, and etc. to set up the stage. But in there you can also have a tipping address. So you have all these people that will learn stuff from you. The content can also be recorded and used in other forms for tutorials and so on. You can make some, you can feel appreciated by those that send you tokens of appreciation. And this thing can be self-sustainable and encouraging. So more than that, people could post bounties for the sessions that they want to see. So, for example, I know there is a huge chunk of the community that wants to learn how to build DAOs, but there is no DAO tutorial there. So we just say, fuck it, we'll just put, I'll put $5 for this, and someone else would, okay, I'll put $50. And then you have a bounty that someone out there that knows how to do a DAO will say, okay, I'll do this, and he'll also pick the money. He'll get rewarded for the time he's put in, and the knowledge he has is being shared as wide and as fast as possible towards the edges of this entire community.
Okay.
So it will be very interesting to see how it will evolve.
Very interesting future for all of us.
Yeah. So
Fate il saluto.
Ciao.
Oh, you're making me dizzy.
Thank you for your time.
By the way, guys, we haven't introduced yet. Like, can you tell me your names and so?
I'm Leonardo
Hey,
Pedretti.
man, great work on the white paper. You're a hero.
Thank you. I'm the founder of Meetup. Insieme
Just his colleague, I mean Giulio.
Jacopo.
my bros.
Jacopo. Ciao.
Man.
Vai, saluta.
Hi, I'm Diego.
Hey, Diego.
Hi, I'm Federico.
What? What's the name?
Federico.
Federico. Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Giuseppe.
Giuseppe.
Nice to meet you.
Vai.
I'm Oliver.
Hey, man. Hi, Oliver.
Hi, I'm Philip.
Hey, Philip. Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for your time. For this call. I hope to see you soon.
Maybe so you know, in the beginning of this project, I was thinking and talking a lot about Hollands, and Hollands were designed as these hubs, physical hubs, and you have them in different jurisdictions and different countries, different cities, and all this stuff. So maybe in the future we'll get to the point where you guys will come visit Romania, will come visit Italy.
Yeah.
Visit them together, Switzerland, then hit Amsterdam or something, you know, like make this an ever-flowing network of people meeting each other and doing cool stuff together.
Are you now in Bucharest?
Yes, Bucharest.
Bucharest. Mulțumesc.
If you guys happen to be around here, send me a message or something. I'll be more than happy to have you around.
Okay. Nice, very well.
Next step is to found the Hallon in Italy, probably.
Yeah, I heard Lorenzo saying something about that, but I don't know.
So yeah, it should be nice.
Should be nice.
We should organize some kind of trip all together to Mihai or to Holland 000 or to 001 in Bucharest, and understand what is an Holland, and maybe think about that after that.
You guys are welcome. By the way, in the spring and the summer, it's pretty nice here. So at the moment, the weather is not very friendly. You have rain and all that stuff. So if it can be in the spring, we can also go see the mountains and stuff. So.
Okay.